Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Welcome to the Penrith Panthers 2020 season review. Hope everyone's doing well on this Sunday night. It is currently 9:10 p.m. I do apologise about the late upload. I know a lot of people are going to bed and going to bed early and trying to go to sleep because obviously everyone's got work and everyone's got school tomorrow and all that keeper. So I do apologise about the late upload, but I hope everyone's doing well. And again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do. We're currently at 955 subscribers. We are not far away from reaching 1,000. The channel is going very well at the moment. I appreciate all the support. And if we can get to 1,000 subscribers, that would be absolutely magnificent. Now let's get into the Penrith Panthers 2020 season review. Obviously a successful season for Penrith. They finished first this year. They were the minor premiers. They were the most consistent team in the 20-round NRL season. Let's go through that season. So in round one, they took on the Roosters, who were the current back-to-back premiers at Penrith Stadium. They beat the Roosters in that game, 20 points to 14, in what was a cracking game at Penrith Stadium. And then the second week, they knocked off the Dragons, 32 points to 28, where they were down. They came back and they stole that win. And obviously, after that, we had the 6-week lockdown. Obviously, no football, 6 weeks. It was pretty boring. And then when the season restarted, the Panthers played on a Sunday afternoon game against the Newcastle Knights. They had a 14-all draw against Newcastle, which was a really good game of football. So that was obviously an unlucky, I guess you could say, result for Penrith. Not able to get the win there, obviously a draw. Then they bounced back and they absolutely hammered the Warriors, 26 points to 0. Too classy for New Zealand in that one. Then they had their first loss of the season where they were beaten by Parramatta, 16 points to 10. That was the game where Penrith led 10-0, and then Parramatta scored about 3 tries in about 6 minutes. Wagga Blake destroyed his old side, so the Panthers got beaten in that one, which obviously is a little bit disappointing. Then they had probably one of their best wins of the season. Well, they knocked off the Melbourne Storm, 21 points to 14. Obviously, if you go from memory, Nathan Cleary put in a kick and kicked out, leaped above them all and scored. And the Panthers ended up getting the win there in that one. Then they knocked off the Rabbitohs, 20 points to 12 on a Thursday night game at Penrith Stadium. Another good win for the Panthers. They've beaten all these good sides early in there, Roosters and Melbourne, losing to Parramatta was no shame. And, knocking off Souths as well, who are a consistent top 8 side as well. So, good start to the year for Penrith. And then they beat the West Tigers, 19 points to 12 on the Saturday night game. That was the game where Ivan Cleary blew the kiss to the Tigers. Obviously, when he left the Tigers, there was a bit of a fallout. So, obviously, Ivan Cleary and the Panthers got a win over the Tigers there. Then they had a huge win against Cronulla, 56 points to 24. I think that was the game where Charlie Staines scored like 5 tries or something insane. Then they had a win over my team, the Cowboys, 22 points to 10. Then they had a win over the Gold Coast, 22 points to 14. Then they had a big win over Manly, 42 points to 12. Very consistent here, the Panthers. Then they had a big win over the Raiders, 28 points to 12. Then they held on against the Warriors, 18 points to 12. Then they had another big win over Cronulla, 38 points to 12. This is the winning streak. Unbelievable winning streak from Penrith. Then they had a big win, an easy win over the West Tigers, 30 points to 6. Too good for Brisbane, 25 points to 12 up at Suncorp. Knocked off Parramatta, 20 points to 2. Too good for the Cowboys in Townsville, 32 points to 12. And then they smashed Canterbury 42-0 in the last round. Obviously, I think it was like 17 in a row, 15 in a row, whatever the fucking streak was. It was unbelievable. And then in the finals, they knocked off the Sydney Roosters in the qualifying final at Penrith Stadium, 29 points to 28. Then they had the week off and all fresh, ready to go. Then they held on for their life against South Sydney, 20 points to 16. They booked themselves a grand final for the first time since 2003. And then in the grand final, they choked against the Melbourne Storm, 26 points to 20. Now, overall, the Panthers' regular season was absolutely magnificent. One of the best regular seasons that I've seen in a very, very long time. I can't name a team that was this more dominant except probably Parramatta of 2001. So, you know, I think that the Panthers only had like one loss all year, didn't they? Hang on, let me have a look. Yeah, they lost to Parramatta in round 5. And then they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. They won 17 games straight. That is a fantastic achievement from a club that hasn't really done anything for a while. So the Panthers, they were the ultimate consistent rugby league side this year. Now look, to lose one game in the whole year, and then, I guess you could say the draw as well, to have one loss all year, you know, just a fantastic season from Penrith overall. I've got to say, full credit to them. I know I've been a bit critical of Penrith, and obviously everyone knows how I feel about Nathan Cleary and Ivan Cleary, but overall, they had a phenomenal season. They were the most consistent side all year. They were the best side all year, but they weren't able to finish it off in the grand final, which was a bit disappointing. The first half of that grand final was pretty disgusting, and we all know that. But having a look at some of their great players this year, obviously Nathan Cleary, the guy that I dislike the most in the NRL and probably rugby league in general, he was definitely the most consistent halfback this year. Definitely the Panthers' best player. I thought Api Coruscant was the buy of the season. I thought he was terrific. I thought Isaiah Yeo was outstanding. I thought he played really well. It was the first year where he moved into lock. I think it was his first full season of playing lock, and he was dynamite. Stephen Crichton, a fantastic young kid. He's only going to get better and better. I thought Dylan Edwards was good. He was better than I thought. I thought James Fisher-Harris was Mr. Consistent. One of the best front rowers in the game at the moment. Probably the best prop in the game, along with Josh Papali and a couple others. Takiaho, and the list goes on. I thought Fisher-Harris was great this year. I thought Viliame Kikau was solid. I thought Jerome Luai had a great season. Their outside backs were really good. I thought Brian To'o and Josh Mansell played well. Like I said, Crichton was good. Dean Farray was average when he played. Tyrone May looked pretty good in the centres at the back end of the season. Even Dylan Edwards, a guy that I have never really rated that high, I thought he had a really good season as well. Overall, a great season for Penrith, and they are just a really good side. But the problem with Penrith is going into next season, they're not going to win 17 games in a row again. They've got to be able to lose games and bounce back the next week. So that's going to be the challenge for Penrith next year. When they lose a game, are they able to bounce back the next week? We will soon find out in 2021. But, you know, overall, I thought they were outstanding this year. I thought they played well. If I had to give them that look, it's hard to say who their best player was because they had so many standout names. But if I had to give you a top 3 or a top 5 Penrith Panthers best players this year, I'd say Nathan Cleary, Api Coruscant, Isaiah Yeo, Stephen Crichton, and probably James Fisher-Harris. They're probably the 5 standouts of mine. It's really hard to say who was poor for Penrith because they had so many good players, but I thought Dean Farray was average when he did play. Didn't go a whole lot in James Tamai. I thought he was okay. Nothing fantastic. Who am I forgetting? Also, a couple other good players too. Spencer Leniu was good. Moses Leota looked pretty good off the bench. Okay, so if I had to say the Panthers' worst player, I didn't really go much on Mitch Kenny, Dean Farray. Didn't go a whole lot on them, so I'd say they were probably the Panthers' 2 worst players. But overall, if I was giving the Panthers season a rating out of 10, I would probably give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. If I had won the premiership, it would have been the best season that I've seen in a very long time. So they would have definitely been a 10 if I had won the comp. But regular season, they were a solid 9.5, 10 out of 10. But obviously losing in the grand final really hurt them. And I'm not sure if they'll be in the top 4 again next year. But they're definitely going to be thereabouts. I don't know if they're going to be top 4 because we don't know what's going to happen in 2021. But what I will say is they're a good young bunch of players. They will only improve. They will still develop. And I think in the coming years, they're going to be a very, very scary team. The question is, can they bounce back straight away after losing the grand final? Doesn't happen very often, but we'll see what happens next year. But overall, a great season for Penrith. If I was going through that season and say what their best win was, it's really hard to say because they had so many good wins. But I'd say the two standout wins for mine, the game against Melbourne, where they won 21-14, was a phenomenal win. And the one where they knocked off, who was it? The game where they knocked off Canberra 28-12, where they just dominated them. That was a really good win. So I'd say the wins over the Storm and the Raiders were probably their two best wins. Their worst loss, well, obviously the regular season, the worst loss was against Parramatta, leading 10-0 and just letting that game slip. So that was probably their worst loss. And obviously the grand final was just an out-and-out embarrassment for mine. But overall, a great season for Penrith, a solid 9.5 out of 10. The question is now is, the Panthers this year, they were really good. Does everyone believe that Api Coruscant was the buy of the season? I believe he was. Now, look, this is going to be a pretty big call, but if Api Coruscant wasn't at Penrith, they don't make the grand final. It's just simple as that. Coruscant is the key to the Panthers' success. He's the X factor. He's the sort of bloke where, right, he gets the ball dummy half, he'll give the ball to Jerome Luai on the left, and then they will set up for an attacking play with Luai and Kickout and Crichton. It was a dangerous left edge. Every time Coruscant would go that way, or every time Coruscant would run to his left, he would scoop him dummy half, and he would give it to Luai, and Luai would create space, and he'd give it on the Kickout or Crichton or the Source, Josh Mansour on the wing. So, and same with the other side. Coruscant, there was times where he would run from dummy half, he would go on the outside to Nathan Cleary, he would give a ball back on the inside to Dylan Edwards or Isaiah Yeo, or he would go outside to his man like Liam Martin or someone. But look, Coruscant for mine, he was definitely the buy of the season, and I think he is so important to that side and how they play, how they defend, how they train, how they do things on the field. I think Coruscant is their most important player. I know people will say Cleary, but if you go back to the start of the year, I think Cleary was out for 2 games, and Coruscant and Jerome Luai just took complete control of the side. So, if Nathan Cleary was out for a couple of weeks or something due to an injury or suspension, I think the Panthers would be fine without him, because as long as I've got Api Coruscant there, the Panthers are going to do good things for mine. But look, guys, anyway, I'm getting out of here. Overall, a good year for Penrith. I thought they played really well. Unlucky not to finish it off in the big game this year in the grand final, but it'll be interesting to see how they go next year. But Coruscant's the key for mine for Penrith going in the next year. They had a good year this year, and I wish Penrith all the best in the future. I look forward to seeing how they go in the future. But anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the Penrith Panthers 2020 season review. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's 9:25 PM. This video should be up by 9:40 at least. Anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have a fantastic Sunday night. Have a great Monday as well while you're at it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share the video around to your friends and your family. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in a different video that I'll be doing tomorrow. So until then, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.